Oh, yeah, don't you know I'm Di Murphy? I like shoes, yeah.
Big dogs are in the house!
Hey! The 84 jersey's out, man. I think this is going to be a fun ride.
Bye, Felicia.
Inside the lane, drive, left, no good. By Punch! Oh my goodness! Where did he come from? Behind the back jam by the big T. This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Practice like this. We up. Straight cash, homie.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Clarksville bullshit, so.
Home run! Welcome back, Lou Collins.
Welcome back to Thunderdome for yet another April Fools was created by the devil, probably while wearing a pop-collared shirt, changing lanes without signaling, and punching kittens edition of Andy Must Die, Minnesota Sports Talk. Kinda. Now, this is the first time that I've actually listened to the intro and brought it in live, or brought it hot, or whatever they call it. And some people have asked what that last sound clip is. That's actually from Little Big League. And John Gordon played the announcer on there named Wally Holland, John Gordon, longtime Twins announcer. Touch 'em all, that guy. And it was so weird because I always wonder in movies like that why they can't use their real names if they're playing essentially themselves in the movies. Because John Gordon was Wally Holland, and then Major League. What's that guy's name? The Brewers announcer. You know who I'm talking about. Anyways, he had a stage name there as well, but we're already sidetracked. That's from Little Big League, which is a fantastic movie about the Twins, about Minnesota. It's beautiful. Movie of my childhood. The reason that I get to talk so much is because Di is on the IR list. Now, Di, it makes sense that she's such a big Wolves fan because she's injured just like the rest of them. But Di is sick. She is down and out. She texted me this morning that her voice was akin to Batman, and yeah, I'm just going to be solo today. Just kind of exploring the space, as it were, because I am your not-so-humble co-host, Andy Carlson, at Andy Carlson Show, and I'm all alone. Mr. Lonely, me and Akon, we're one and the same. I ain't got nobody to call my own. We're on the Twitter at Andy Must Die, and the website, as always, AndyMustDie.com. But it's, like we mentioned, it's April Fool's Day, and it is literally the worst holiday ever conceived. I don't even know what the roots of the holiday were. I didn't even bother to look it up. John Oliver, Last Week Tonight, which is a great show, by the way. You need to watch it. He is off this week, but he put out a little YouTube clip and talking about how awful April Fool's Day was. And he brings in his did you know that April Fool's Day was started by FDR during the Great Depression to lift morale? And no, it was not. You trusted me, and I bamboozled you. It was pretty funny and a pretty solid take because this is literally the worst day ever. And we've already seen it. Last night it started out with Greg Jennings, former Viking, and a guy I really respect, still love, even after this nonsense. He took to Twitter, took to social media, and he posted yesterday during the day, "Really glad to be wrapping this free agency process up. Glad it's coming to an end." And they tweet out, "Done deal, yeah." And he's like, has there ever been a professional athlete break the news of where he's signing via social media? Question mark. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then, he brings out the ubiquitous, because I actually thought that this might be legit. This might be that he's going to scoop the insiders, which, given a number of hours lead time, I would find unlikely, because someone in the team, someone in Jennings' camp would have leaked it to Ian Rappaport, Schefter, Chris Mortensen, something like that. Anyways, he goes on to tweet the ubiquitous tonight, 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that should be a dead giveaway, because Jennings is not on the West Coast, has never played on the West Coast, and is a Central Time Zone kind of guy. From Kalamazoo, went to Western Michigan, played for the Packers, played for the Vikings. So he's lived in the Central Time Zone mindset his entire life. So 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is midnight Central Time. And that would be an April Fool's Day. So I think everyone was already on for it. Unfortunately, I stayed up for it, but it wasn't specifically for that, because I had a birthing class with my wife last night, which was fun. So I saw this whole mess come out, because they're like, oh, what's going on here? And he's like, I sincerely apologize. My agent requested I do it then. Please. So then he does the countdown, 30 minutes, 15 minutes. Announcement will come via score video, or SQOR video, whatever it is. I think it's a startup social media site. I know that Steve Weatherford and Jennings has done a lot of things with it, but you post it. It actually crashed the website, apparently. But when we saw the video, it was like him and his kids, like in Disney World or something, and he had the video on himself. It's like, guess where we're going, and then it goes to his kids, April Fools. Now, it was very cute from the kids' part, but it was really dumb from Jennings' part. I get that it was fun, and it was a little tongue-in-cheek. People really didn't need to take it seriously, because honestly, if he did sign somewhere, the news would have broke long before this. But see, that was lighthearted, and that is tolerable. But then Bruce Irvin's just idiocy this morning, tweeting out preemptively that he's apologizing to the fans and Seahawks for getting a DUI. That didn't happen, because that's funny. But anyways, April Fool's Day is terrible. And yeah, we got some beautiful weather in Minnesota. We're finally starting to get 60s, potentially high of 70 day. I'm pretty excited about that. Currently recording in flip-flops, but also I'm wearing a hoodie, because that's how Minnesota weather works. And we were able to have dinner outside on our deck last night, and that was just beautiful. But enough about me. Getting to our bracket update between Di and I, we're basically done. We are basically done. Di has Kentucky and Wisconsin in the Final Four. I have Wisconsin. That's it. I have Wisconsin. And they are riding my only hope, because Di has Kentucky winning the whole thing. I have Wisconsin moving on to the championship game and losing to Virginia. So my bracket is terrible, but the beautiful thing is I only trail Di by 5 points, and the Final Four win, getting that right, is worth 5 points. So I can't win outright, but I can tie the hell out of her. So it's basically Kentucky versus Wisconsin in our bracket, and we'll post this on the blog post as well. So it's very ironic that I need to root for the Badgers to come out and beat Kentucky to avoid me making a video about how much I love the Badgers, the Packers, the Blackhawks, the blah, 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 etc. We still haven't determined that the Wolves don't have a rival. Anyways, and I don't know what we're going to do in the event of a tie. I also don't know if Wisconsin can hang with Kentucky, even though Notre Dame gave them everything they got for 31 minutes. So we'll see. I'm sure we'll work something out, and either way, you all know how much of a attention whore I am anyways. So I might just do my own video. I might make up a persona similar to Carl Gerbschmidt, except I'm thinking about what the name would be. An Asian living in Wisconsin who just downs beer, cheese soup, eats sausage all day, drinks Miller High Life, and I actually know it'd be Spotted Cow. Because, all right, so there are only about 3 redeeming qualities about Wisconsin. Number 1 would be Spotted Cow, because that stuff is absolutely delicious. I'm not going to lie. 2 is brats and sausage, because honestly, how can you hate on that? I mean, it's delicious. And number 3 is Culver's. All right. Oh, I guess 4, Quick Trip. Quick Trip's pretty good. I don't mind. All right, 5, Kohl's. Kohl's is also pretty phenomenal. Even though I'm pretty sure what Kohl's does is that they double the price and then mark everything 50% off. Even though I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but it seems like it, right? Because, you'll be walking through Kohl's and you'll be like, oh, 50% off, 6% off, 7% off. Ooh, I would be losing money if I don't buy the shirt for $8. And then you look at it, it's just a regular shirt. All right, so we'll take like a Durasheen golf polo, like the lightweight fabrics. I really like those because I'm getting old now and I'm becoming a father, so that's obviously what old fathers wear. Anyways, you look at that shirt and you're like, oh, it's 80% off. It's $8. And then, all right, so $40. Was this shirt really $40 to begin with? Who would really buy the shirt $40 at retail? Probably not. Or you get these, anyways, all right, tangenting off. But we got a lot to get to today. Riding solo by myself, even though I told Di I would interject with my impressions of her. And we'll get to that a little later on. While they're heating up, Chad Greenway restructures. Vikings sign the mountain from Game of Thrones, basically. In Di time, I'm going to talk about what is the best postseason that determines a champion. Like, what's the best format out there in terms of crowning a true champion and entertainment? Balancing that. We'll also get to a little odds and ends. McDonald's serving breakfast all day as a tribute to Adrian Peterson. Just kidding, April Fools. Ha ha ha. Isn't that so funny? This day sucks. Also, the Hrbek Bloody Mary. Your Twitter questions, and that's it. We'll be out. It'll be good times. Riding solo with me on Andy Must Die. Let's hit it with some Minnesota sports news. Come on, buttons.
Minnesota sports
There we
news.
go. Like we mentioned, the Minnesota Wild are gearing up for the postseason. As now, I don't have the math off the top of my head because I was told no math would be involved. They basically have about a 99.1% chance to make the playoffs. But we know that 0.9% is LOL Minnesota sports. The Wild are currently sitting on 95 points. First for the first wildcard spot. I'm still learning hockey. First wildcard spot. 5 points ahead of Winnipeg. 7 on the Kings, 3 behind Chicago for the third spot in the Central with 6 games to play. If the season ended today, as they always say, we would currently face Nashville, which is fine. I know that we beat Nashville at Nashville several times, and winning on the road in any playoffs, any format, any sport is going to be helpful. And I'm a fully admitted hockey rube. I'm learning. This is a very fun sport. Apparently, Clutterbuck is no longer with the team, even though that's an awesome name. And the consensus seems to be that the Wild want to avoid Anaheim in the first round. I don't know if that's a fair statement or not. I guess we'll see. They host the Rangers tomorrow night. Well, all right, so I said they. At what point can I start saying we? Because I'm a big we opponent. Because when I talk about the Vikings, I do say we. I'm purple for the win. And I guess I say we about the Twins, the Wolves, Gophers, kind of. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this playoff goes if I get really into it. I'm going to say we because I don't care. I don't care the argument says, oh, well, did you ever play for the team? So you obviously can't say we. That's stupid. Get out of here. Currently, we... hell, I'll just go now. We currently play the Rangers tomorrow night, who are currently the 1 seed in the Metropolitan Division, which I had no idea was a thing. It sounds like something out of Superman. And also, we play the Red Wings on Saturday. Ooh, that feels good to say we. Winnipeg Monday, all at home. And then at Chicago, Tuesday, could be a big one. And at Nashville, Thursday, the Wild are 8-2-0 in their last 10. But let's get to the actual debate here. It's pretty heated, pretty contested. Is it Dooooobs with O's or Duuuubs with U's? Because I've heard it and I've seen it every different way. I think the Wild PR does it with the U's. Although, wouldn't that be Dubs then? Dubs. Yeah, it's not the same thing. I think you got to go O. I think you got to go O. Also, at a recent home game, Wild fans are doing the wave. The wave. It's not 1980. It isn't the Philly fanatic getting the crowd going. The wave is kind of dumb. Admittedly, it is neat to see, especially in a crowded stadium. But I don't know. Like, even going to Twins games as a kid, it was kind of neat to do the wave. But then I would see grown-ass people looking at it like, oh, here it comes. Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's over in section 109. Oh, it's coming. Oh, here it comes. No. See, I think the wave is almost on par with the Vikings Rubes chanting, Teddy, 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 while the Vikings are on offense. Well, we're on offense here. I love the enthusiasm. I love that we finally have a quarterback worth chanting and rooting for, but we're on offense, people. I mean, chanting and rooting for the guy and then having those chants drown out his communications with Norv, with his receivers, with his offensive line. If they have to go to a silent count because, you know, you got a bunch of drunk guys at GCF Bank Stadium, you're Jenny, Jenny. Yeah. But anyways, that's a little pet peeve. But, oh, yeah, Wild. Head to the postseason. There you go. The Wolves shut down Peck for the rest of the season and basically, I don't know, everyone else. Rubio hasn't been suiting up. Barrero pointed out that KG hasn't even played 100 minutes total since he came back to the Wolves. And it is funny. Flip was on his regular spot on KFan with Barrero yesterday, and Flip was getting a little defensive. Now, admittedly, Barrero was pushing him, but I don't think he was asking him, Flip, any questions that were out of bounds. As, you know, did they know that KG was, you know, this injured with the knee when he came over? Yes, he passed the physical, but did they know it was going to be this bad? Did they know that he was basically just going to be an assistant coach / cheerleader who sometimes doesn't even sit on the bench at the games? I don't know. And it's really unfortunate because as a Wolves fan, I do feel like it was a bit of a bill of goods. And you did get that goodwill in a lost season, albeit with young talent everywhere. You got Wiggins and Levine and Shabazz eventually, and then you bring in KG. That's beautiful. Yeah, the beautiful coming home, and that night, his first home game at Target Center. That was an awesome moment. That was a beautiful Minnesota sports moment. But after that, it's been, I honestly thought that it was done more out of marketing and trying to sell tickets, trying to keep fans engaged in a lost season and a potential lost season next year as well, because people who are buying the tickets, who are turning in the games, are of an age where they remember the great Kevin Garnett years. It's almost like bringing Coca-Cola Classic back. But even at the time, I thought it might have been a stunt where they would just roll them out in home games so they could sell tickets and then just sit them on the road, or maybe not even have them travel. And all under the guise of, oh, he's old, he's got a bad knee, but he's great with these young guys. And I don't dispute that fact. But I don't know, it just seems really Minnesota sports at this moment. It's very underwhelming. I don't know what this is going to look like next year. I don't see Kevin Garnett's knee magically getting better. I don't really see him magically putting up 20 minutes a game next season, even coming off the bench. But thank goodness for Wiggins, Levine, and this entire youth movement, because otherwise, if it was just Kevin Garnett and 8 guys from the YMCA, this would really suck. Speaking of guys who have been in Minnesota for a long time. That's not the smoothest segue in the world, but we'll get to it. Chad Greenway restructures, and he was set to cost $7 million against the cap this year, restructured down to 3.4. His new deal includes $1 million in guaranteed money and up to $600K in bonuses. And this basically locks him up to be a Viking for life. I don't really see them doing this dance next off season. I know that Ziggy has mentioned that he found it important to keep Chad in a Vikings uniform for life, because I do think it's kind of neat. It does feel like a bit of a sentimental move, which is fine. Vikings can't afford it this year. Also, it's not like they're exactly banging down the door at the linebacker position. Hodges showed flashes last year when he was actually able to get on the field. Audie's always been that guy who is just so close, almost there. And then Marty is, Rube's favorite son, but he just never really got it done. Never really got into Zimmer and Edwards' good graces. We could also easily draft a rookie. We could draft Kendricks out of UCLA. Shaq Thompson out of Washington is also very fun as well. More the back end of the first round, but then again, that's Spielman's specialty, especially if we trade Adrian Peterson. But I don't mind having Greenway around. Is a good guy. Won the Wizinator Award from the NFLPA for his work in the community and service. And I would love to see him be a Viking for life. I think you could make a case that he's Ring of Honor potential. You could make the case. I don't think it's not a slam dunk by any means, but I could see it. But it is kind of neat, these semi-local guys. Chad's from South Dakota, stick around. He played in Iowa, so he's a very regional guy and played his entire career for the Vikings. A la Jim Kleinsasser, Nodak, North Dakota, and then played his entire career in the purple. And people like these type of stories. I don't really see him as I don't really see Chad rebounding significantly from his decline the past couple of years. But if he can help these young linebackers in a manner similar to what Kevin Garnett can do with Anthony Bennett, that's fine. Even though $3.4 million is kind of a lot for assistant linebackers coach. Also kind of a lot is Vikings bricks, as in a lot of fun. And the Vikings launched a campaign last Thursday selling personalized bricks to be placed in the new Viking Stadium Plaza. $160 will get you a 4x8, and $360 will get you an 8x8 with 4 lines of text. And basically, Twitter won the day yesterday on Thursday. And Vikings Twitter came out and made up a brick that said, keep them coming. We're getting a good laugh. And basically, you could go to the website they put on, and you could just type in text. It's kind of like a create a meme website, because that's basically what it was. And there were some pretty good ones. I got involved in the action. I did up a 41 donut where the donut was actually just like a PNG file of a donut. Also, I threw a Vikings brick through my TV when Favre threw that pick, stuff like that. And also, a lot of people went to the, do I have to pay a PSL for this brick? Ayo. Or this brick killed a bird. And it was just a good time. I'm not going to lie. And it is one of the great things about social media is that stuff like this can happen in real time so fast, because they basically announced it Thursday morning, and by noon it was nonstop entertainment. And the remaining Vikings entertainment that day is, maybe the Vikings signed Babtunde Aiyegbusi. Sure. All right, so maybe they signed the 6'9" guy from Poland just to stem the tide of the snarkiness on the Vikings bricks. That very well could be. But Babs, we're going to call him, he's a left tackle out of basically the Polish American Football League. 6'9", damn good time, 351 pounds, 27 years old. Previously played for the Dresden Monarchs of the German Football League. Love them. And the Wrocław Giants of the Polish American Football League. He won a ring there. Hey, so it's nice to get some championship experience to the Vikings. He ran a 5.2140 at his pro day, which is nuts. And from the various YouTube clips that have been circulating around, does seem like the dude dominates. But then again, it'd be hard not to in leagues with that caliber of competition and also being this size. And the thing is, because he's so tall, he looks pretty skinny for 350 pounds. He's not like Lode Holt size. He's not David Dixon for an old school name size where it's just round. No, he's tall. He's a tall dude. I'm intrigued if he could play for the Wolves. Babtunde Babs, we just need you for 50 minutes a night. Give us 10 rebounds and 6 fouls. That's all we need you for. And it's kind of a fun story, and I don't see him supplanting Matt Khalil anytime soon. I think his game is going to need a lot of polish, and he is 27 years old, so he's not a spring chicken. But could be a fun story to follow. A guy who could be Mr. Mankato. Also, he's going to be competing there. Tiny Richardson, my favorite son. Probably a long shot to make the final 53 unless he really comes a long way. Could be a practice squad candidate. Or isn't there like an extended squad sort of deal? Like when the Colts signed that rugby guy, or the Lions signed that rugby guy, or Kickalicious or something like that. Isn't there like a extended roster exemption for like non-traditional football guys that you can keep in your organization trying to develop? I don't know. I probably should have looked that up beforehand, but I'm all by myself. I'm just winging it. Oh, the Die impression. So, Die, what do you think about the Vikings signing Babtunde Aiyegbusi? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Wait, no, that's terrible. Oh, there we go. All right, so in my mind, Die sounds like the mom from Bobby's World, where it's like, oh, don't you know that he's so tall and he could play the entire left side? Wait, no, so I'm kind of bad at impressions. I think I'm good, but I'm really not. So the Fargo lady developed into, oh, yeah, no, wait. Anyways, that crashed to burn. Let's get to something that did not. Amanda Zahui, the first Gopher women's basketball player to be named AP First Team All-American, and the 6'5 sophomore Swede is the first Gopher to ever receive the honor. And it is awesome to have a team and player have success in the Twin Cities. Hopefully, Amanda, going to be a junior next year, can lead them back to the tournament and make some noise. Sticking with Gopher hardwood, Pitino to Alabama. And Amelia Reyna reported yesterday sources linking Richard to the job if they miss out on Greg Marshall. And I am for it because I don't care about Richard Pitino. What has he really done? Yes, they did get to the NIT and win it last year. Congratulations. But as far as recruiting, he's not keeping Tyrus Thomas in here. He's not keeping the kid who went to Stanford in state. And that's going to be the next step because Minnesota does produce some decent basketball talent. Now, it's not going to be dominant NBA players, but it is going to be solid guys. And when you keep losing them to top-tier schools, even though you can't really blame them for going to Duke and Stanford, I guess is it's a top-tier school academically, and I could see why he definitely went out there for that. But basketball-wise, it's very So if you're losing players to basketball schools, what are you doing here? And just because his name is Pitino, he gets traction to all these openings. Tennessee before they hired Barnes. Texas after they fired Barnes. Alabama. Why is his name being linked to all these jobs when 2 years in Minnesota he has been okay? Has really underwhelmed, especially in close spots in the Big Ten, which I think overall was pretty weak throughout the season. I think people would admit that, but now have two teams in the Final Four. It was basically Wisconsin, and Michigan State was not Michigan State during the season, and that's it. And you're struggling in a non-premier basketball conference, but hey, his last name's Pitino, so he obviously deserves an upgrading job. I mean, if his name was Richard Bartowski, he wouldn't even be sniffing any of these jobs. But I don't know. It always seemed like this is a way station, like this was his connecting flight to a better job anyway. So honestly, if he's just going to go, just go. I mean, let's get a coach here, like a Jerry Kill, who does see this as a destination job, or at least quasi a destination job, and let's rebuild this thing. Or, I told Di that this is going to happen. Hashtag bring back Clem. Bring back Clem. Bring back Clem. Yeah, I don't know. But first segment is in the books. We're going to get to some Di time in segment 2, even though it's Andy time. Talking about what is the best way to determine a champion via postseason. Also get to some odds and ends, your Twitter questions, all this more on episode 8 of Andy Must Die. I'm riding solo, riding solo, riding solo. BRB. Purple for the Win podcast is your one-stop shop for the team you hate that you love. That's right, dedicated to the pain and pleasure that is the Minnesota Vikings. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube for our weekly and bi-weekly mediocrity. And, of course, there's always purpleftw.com. Because, you know, aside from nipple clamps and chains and whips, cheering for the Purple People Eaters is probably the most pleasurable pain you can experience on this planet. So come on in for the mediocre analysis and the more mediocre humor. PurpleFTW.com. That's right, PurpleFTW.com.
Straight cash, homie.
And coming back for segment 2, I forgot to mention that the Gophers had spring game, and we don't have Cobb, but we still have an awesome secretary, Breen Calhoun, whatever his name is, and still got Leidna, and I've got some pretty high hopes for the Gophers football program. I know that last year they got off to this hot start and got some big wins over some old foes, got some trophies back, and then ultimately laid an egg versus Mizzou. But, yeah, this year could be a big step up. It could be maybe we make a Big Ten title game appearance. Why not? Why not? Even though we do have Leidner, who is basically Tebow who can't throw, which is saying a lot. But on to some more lighthearted topics, even though I guess Gophers football is pretty lighthearted. Die time and sound drop eventually. Now, I got some. There we go.
Die time.
You know you want it. Now, the current soundboard program we have, it's kind of weird because if you don't play the sound drops right away, it just sort of settles. Oh, there you go. And sometimes there's a lag. But anyways, we got die time, except with Andy. So this is Andy time. What is the best postseason to determine a champion is I wanted to talk about today because, it's March Madness and everyone talks about how they love the tournament, but it's so random. Like, it's so high variance, the whole one and done, 6 games to win the championship. Just look at UConn last year, where they 8-9 seed, and then they just come in and get hot at the right time. I think they were middle of the pack in their conference. It's almost like they were the Gophers last year of the AAC, which formerly used to be the Big East, and I missed the Big East. But they were basically the Gophers last year. They didn't even know if they were going to be – they weren't even a lock to make the tournament, but they did get in. The Gophers did not, and then they just got hot with Napier and Boatwright, and then they won a title. Is that the best way to determine a champion? Probably not. Is it entertaining as hell? Absolutely. And so – today in Die Time or Andy Time, I want to just kind of talk through what's the best way to determine a true champion while balancing entertainment. So we already said our piece about March Madness. Also, last year, UConn beat Kentucky in the championship, and Kentucky was an 8 seed. I mean, that's how random the tournament could be. You can get a team that starts out slow, isn't that great in the regular season, but is really getting together at the end of the season, gets in a low seed, and then just waxes people. That's what Kentucky did last year. And It's kind of the same thing with Michigan State this year. They're a 7 seed. We talked about in segment 1, they weren't Michigan State, quote unquote. I don't think they're that great of a team, but right now this is Izzo time, and he's got them playing well. That's why they're the only non-1 seed in the Final Four. And so that's March Madness. Sticking with college football, college sports, college football playoff. It is top 4 for now in the playoff. I know the TCU Baylor complained that they got left outside, and that is extremely entertaining. Best way to determine a true champion, again, it is the whole one and done thing in the playoffs. Although I get you can't do a best of 5 or 7 in football, and it does make the regular season less important to a degree than in the BCS era, because basically then if you're in the national title hunt, one slip up could cost you a shot at the national title, since there's only 2 spots. Now there is 4, but I think overall the regular season is still very entertaining, because teams, even if they slip up, they can get back into the race. Like Ohio State versus Virginia Tech earlier in the year. If this is the BCS era, they'd probably be done. They'd be dead, because weren't they the 4 seed in the playoffs, and then they got hot? So this is still kind of shifting, determining how true of a champion this is. It's great entertainment value. I think it's fine for now, but if it goes to 8, 10, 12 teams, then you start getting watered down, because NFL playoffs, it's one and done, just like college football, because obviously you can't do a best 7 in football, and they do reseed in there, but you see a lot, when the Packers won it, when the Steelers won it, and when the Giants, won their Super Bowls, coming in as 6 seeds. Actually, were the Packers 6 seed? Really doesn't matter. But you've seen a 6 seed get really hot at the right time, and then just cut their way through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl and walk off. Now, is that the best way to determine a true champion? A 9-7 team who fought and scrapped in December to get in, and then just cut their way through the playoffs? Probably not. Entertainment value wise, it's all phenomenal. Actually, all of these are great entertainment wise until we get to some other ones, and it's probably not the best way to determine a true champion. But if you go to baseball now, the way they used to do it is just, like way back in the day, is if you had the best record in your league, American or national, you won the pennant. You play in the World Series. And that kind of sucks, because if you start off slow, you have a slow April and May, you're out of it. And your team has a long 162 back in those days ahead of them, because you got no shot to win the pennant. And now I like the current playoff of the 1-game playoff for the wild card. And then you get into the best of 5 ALDS, then best of 7, CS, and then World Series. I think that's fine. I would like to see the 1-game playoff be at least a best of 3. At the team with the better records place. I know that conflicts with schedules then you potentially have to wait 3 days of an already long season to determine who's going to be in the next, moving on to the next round. And they do a 2-3-2 format when they go to 7. I think it's okay. I think it's, as far as true champion, best of 7 is always going to be the best way to do it. I don't think that 1-game playoff, I think it's highly variant, even though, didn't the Royals and the Giants both get in through the 1-game playoff? It's very possible. NHL, best of 7 all the way through, no reseeding, a 2-2-1-1-1 format. I do think that this is one of the better ways to determine the true champion. And entertainment-wise, even as a hockey novice, there is nothing better, or there are a few things better than Game 7 of a hockey series. Last year, Wild and, gosh, who they beat in Game 7? I should know this if I'm going to say we, but there is, it is just phenomenal that way. But although, if you do get the goalie, quote unquote, standing on his head, that can basically be a huge propellant through there. But then again, NBA, best of 7, 2-2, 1-1-1 as well. If you get LeBron or one guy who just gets absolutely hot, he can carry the team as well. So I guess that's not really the best argument for the NHL or NBA. I will say that NBA, it does seem like their playoffs take forever. Even though the NHL is the same length, same number of teams, it just seems like the NBA one just takes forever. Because you start the season in the fall, and you don't determine the champion until June. And I know the Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA are all very regional sports, and they do have their extremely loyal fan bases. But, what plays better nationally? In Major League Baseball, did anyone really care that the Royals are playing the Giants in the World Series last year? Probably not. NBA, I don't even know who won the title last year. Was it Spurs? Sure, Spurs. I don't know. And NHL is a niche sport as it is, but I really it might be a prisoner in the moment thing because the Wild are getting geared up to make a run these playoffs. But I do think that the NHL, with the best of sevens, is the best way to determine a true champion, as their sport is constituted. I know that NFL, you can't have that best of 7, but I don't know. Basically, March Madness is the worst. March Madness should be scaled down to 16 teams, best of 5, or best of 3. Although it wouldn't be as much fun as the one-night tournament, it would be a better way to determine a champion, and that way you would get more true champions coming out. So what did we really accomplish in this little 10-minute diatribe? Probably not much. Basically just myself talking through my thought process here, alone in the room without Di. Di, what do you think? Oh, yeah. You have the March Madness and the hockey hosers with the NHL and the NBA. I don't know. Di just sounds very Minnesotan to me. Although sometimes when I hear myself back, I sound very Minnesotan as well. So my answer for determining true champion, I'm going to go with the NHL. Although college football with a little couple tweaks, there you go. We accomplished nothing, but it was a fun 10 minutes for me. Let's hit it with some odds and ends. Eventually. We talked about the soundboard.
Good for you.
McDonald's is starting to serve breakfast all day, and formerly they used to end at 10:30. And this is my defining moment of my life. Because I'm not going to lie, and I'm not apologetic. I love McDonald's breakfast. Because when you're a younger person and, you had a couple libations the evening before, they do say that the Bloody Mary is the great hangover cure, but I'm the type of guy who you need a little substance. You need a little something in your belly. And those little egg, sausage, and pepper burritos that they sell at McDonald's for $1, oh, my God. Oh, my gosh. And you can never go wrong with the Egg McMuffin, right? Absolutely not. And I know that everyone's talking about, Burger King breakfast is the best, or, Taco Bell breakfast is the best. But I think McDonald's is literally the best. Channeling my inner Chris Traeger right there. Literally. Because they're all over the place, and it's $1. You can get like 3 breakfast burritos for $3. And then you're good to go for the rest of the day. Even though, if you got roughed up the night before, probably go lay down and take a little nap. Why not have a nap full of delicious breakfast burrito? Why not? Next up, Pac-Man on Google Earth. And did anyone else do this out there? I did it once in downtown Minneapolis just because, even though I lost because I'm terrible at Pac-Man. I don't know what it is. I think what it is I'm bad at determining where I'm going to pop out if I go off screen. And I know Pac-Man is easy because it's right there, but the Google Earth ones or Google Maps one was highly variant. Like if you go off screen, you don't know where you're going to pop out. So you don't even know, man. Plus, you don't even know where the ghosts are going to pop out. But it is always fun. Google, they go around filming everyone, and then they also have a lot of time and money and resources to do things like this, which are neat. And like the Google Doodles, is that what they're called? The homepage thing? Those are always fun as well. Rolling Stones, speaking of fun, are rolling into TCF Bank Stadium on June 3rd, part of their summer tour. And this is the one that the AD was hinting at for a long time. Or was it the Gophers facility guy? Anyway, who cares? But Rolling Stones coming to TCF Bank. I know they're not what they once were. I'm actually a really big Stones fan, as getting a little older, getting into more of the classic stuff, as it were, like the Rolling Stones, Zeppelin. Also getting big into like Al Green, Marvin Gaye, stuff like that. And it's stuff that I would never listen to growing up, because I was in the Limp Bizkit, so cool a generation. Or, oh, did you get the new Linkin Park CD? It's so sick. It's so sick, brah. And I can't even lie. I was really big into that scene, but I'm not that big of a concert guy. And I know this is going to be awesome for a lot of older people, going to this concert at the bank. But I'm just not that big of a concert guy. My wife used to be. We went to a couple of concerts when we were younger, but overall, like the crowds and parking, heat generally, because a lot of these outdoor concerts occur, in summer, obviously, and that's not really my thing. Although I think crowds and overcrowded, overpriced parking is like my general pet peeves anyways. That's why I don't really care for much. I'm kind of an old curmudgeon, so maybe it makes sense why I'm starting to get into the Rolling Stones. Ohio State's veterinary school has a Michigan fire hydrant at their dog park, and it's beautiful. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the things that make sports fun, even though I'm sure that there was some faux Twitter outrage or foutrage, we coined that term, over this. I think it's just good fun. And it is great to have these sort of rivalries. I do respect, I really like Ohio State. I don't really like Michigan, but I do respect the thing that they got going on, the witty repartee going back and forth, going back to Bo and I can't believe I'm blanking on the Ohio State's coach's name. Woody Hayes. My God. Woody Throat Punch Hayes. The whole rivalry they had back then, it's what makes sports great. And this little fire hydrant thing, it's fun, it's harmless, and just enjoy it. Something that Braves fans are going to enjoy, besides a shady funded stadium coming up, is that Braves are going to sell alcohol-infused cupcakes at the stadium this summer, and also on top of the Phillies now serving hard liquor and wine at the games, because if there's anything that belligerent, hot, dehydrated, drunk sports fans need, is more ways to get booze and different types of booze. And I feel like I do like what baseball and what teams are doing. They're trying different things to make the at the game experience great, because I think football is eventually going to need to tweak this as well, because the game is so good on TV. But with baseball, going to the park on a nice hot summer day, it is an experience. And I feel like they are trying to do some minor league baseball tricks, as it were, for lack of a better term, because you have these the 7-pound bratwurst stuffed with bacon and cheese and blah, blah, blah. You do have these little gimmicky shticks and promotions to bring fans in, because it is kind of a neat deal. And we're like, oh, I'm in Atlanta. I get an alcohol-infused cupcake or a rum cake or whatever it is. And it is kind of neat. They are trying to, branch out to who they attract to the stadium, make it a little bit more enticing rather than, hey, show up, give us your money, now leave. But I don't know. Philadelphia, combining hard liquor and then vino to the Philadelphia fans? Nah. Speaking of shtick, Hrbek's College Days Bloody Mary. Did you see this? This is phenomenal. For $19, you get this gigantic, beautiful Bloody Mary with a giant slice of pizza stuck into it. And this is a takeoff of Hrbek's did one last year that had, it was more than a slider. It was just like a small burger because, sliders are generally pretty small, but this one actually had some heft to it. And it was delicious, by the way. But this one, the Hrbek Bloody from the description from the menu, this Bloody Mary will bring back the memories or not. This cool Bloody Mary gets a cold slice of pepperoni pizza, which is just what you need with a Bloody Mary. If that wasn't enough, you also get all the other fixings. Beef stick, pepper jack and cheddar cheese cubes, peppercini, olive, celery, and a pickle spear, served with a Bud Light beer back, which is apparently a term for a chaser. And this looks phenomenal. It looks gluttonous. It looks Americano. It looks Kent Hrbek. I'm not going to lie. It fits him to a T. And the only way that they could possibly improve this is if they had McDonald's breakfast burrito and 7 slices of pizza. Hello. So what I'm going to do, because this is entertaining to me, so I'm going to go to McDonald's that has breakfast served all day now. I'm going to get 3 breakfast burritos. I'm going to go to a Twins game. I'm going to order up this Bloody Mary. I'm going to eat the slice of pizza. And then out of my pockets, which are probably cargo shorts, which come in handy, I will bring out the glorious McDonald's breakfast burritos. I will jam them up on the top of the Bloody, and I will be off to the races. And I will take a picture of it, and I will tweet it out, because that's how I roll. Sneaking $3 worth of McDonald's into a Twins game and buying a $19 Bloody Mary just so I can shove burritos into a Bloody Mary, because that's how I roll. Also, how I roll is a couple of Twitter questions, and both these came from Nickason, who, if we did a fans power ranking, Nick would be probably top 10 at least, definitely. Or if you go across the spectrum of Andy Must Die, and of course, Purple for the Win, purpleforthewin.com, at PurpleFDW Podcast. Wait, that's not correct, but you know what I mean. He's solid. He is up there. He's probably listening to this right now and just like freaking out, like, oh, why aren't I top 3? Why is Andy talking all by himself? Why is Di being so quiet this episode? No. Anyways, first question is, what does the Mall of America need? My answer, absolutely nothing. I mean, what can you not get at the mall that you really need? I mean, unless they put in a Menards, which would be phenomenal at the Mall of America. Seriously, what else is there? It's the friggin' Mall of America. It's like 5 malls stacked on top of each other with a Bubba Gump shrimp. Woohoo! Congratulations, and also occasional protesters. And yeah, that's all the mall. That's it. That is it. There's nothing that the Mall of America could add except possibly. Is there a movie theater at the mall? I realize that's a really dumb question, but is there a movie theater at the mall? I could easily look that up. Also, don't really know who I'm asking because this is a podcast and I don't have a producer in studio, so I'm just talking to myself. Ha ha ha. But random tangent, which I'm prone to do. My wife has never been to Hooters. Let that sink in. And I know it's weird because the only Hooters around here is there's one in the mall and there's one in La Crosse. We went to school in Winona. You think you probably would have made it because La Crosse is a fun place to party in. Although if you're going partying, you're probably not going to stop in the Hooters. And I know that Hooters gets a bad rap because of the tackiness. What's the slogan? Delightfully tacky yet unrefined, or whatever it is. Don't act like you don't know, Andy. Oh, okay. But I actually like the Hooters wings. I cannot dispute the fact because I'm a man of discerning tastes when it comes to chicken wings. And I do like a good breaded chicken wing every now and then, even though it's basically like mini fried chicken. I like a fried, breaded chicken wing. And I think Hooters does a phenomenal job when they do the breaded wings. Also, when you do the breaded wings, you absolutely have to have the sauce on the side because otherwise, the sauce will sit in that nice crispy breading and then it'll just make it soggy. and then it's just a sponge. And a lot of people don't like a lot of sauce. Some people like a lot of sauce. But if you sauce your wings beforehand, you can't really choose. Actually, that goes to all wings in general. Grilled wings, baked wings, naked fried wings, boneless wings, everything. Anyways, the little breaded wing, I think Hooters does a great job. I also think KFC does a great job. And also, you know what's random? Every little hole-in-the-wall Chinese restaurant makes fantastic breaded fried chicken wings. I'm salivating just thinking about it because it's almost lunchtime here. But no, literally, seriously. And I think it might be because they all have the same food supplier, and I'm sure it's just a frozen product that just dunk in a fryer. But I don't care. I don't even care. Don't act like Hooters wings are hand-breaded by Ollie back in the kitchen either. You know that he's just taking things out of a fridge and dunking them. So come on. So long story short, that's the answer to what's a Mall American need, is that breaded wings are phenomenal. Also, Nick asked, favorite pizza toppings. And I kind of go back and forth on this. Like, I'm a little bipolar when it comes to pizza toppings, for lack of a less crass term. Because sometimes Friday night is pizza night in the CrossFit family house. Don't get it twisted, all right? If it's Friday night, if you're coming over, it's pizza. So if sometimes I like the garbage pizza, it's got everything. It's got the sausage, the pepperoni. You can do ham, ground beef. That's the four meat. And then you can do peppers, onions, definitely mushrooms, black olives, green olives if you're nasty, pineapple. Why not? Everybody come in. Everybody come in. But then also sometimes I have been going through this phase lately. Just keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Pepperoni, mushroom. Boom. Done. Pepperoni, green pepper. Boom. Done. Sausage and mushroom, which is always going to be one of my favorite combinations. It's it's what I grew up with. It's my dad's favorite pizza topping, and then sausage and mushroom. Boom. There we go. And I don't know. I always slide along the spectrum scale. I do like jalapenos and banana peppers, or pepperoncinis sliced up. Those are coming on strong in my pizza toppings. I'm also, a big guy, and when it comes to, well, I'm obviously a big guy if I eat this much pizza, but a big proponent of freshly grated Parmesan. That's key. Also, red pepper flakes. I like the I like the ground pepper melange. Not straight up black pepper, but you get a white pepper, green pepper, pink peppercorns, and black peppercorns in the little mix. I really like that. Used to be a big ranch sauce guy, not so much anymore. Sriracha is always going to be key, no matter what kind of pizza you got. And yeah, that now. Beverages. Now, I know I'm going tangent enough, but I'm just filling time. And plus, I'm all by myself. Di can't call me out on my nonsense. So, beverages. When it comes to pizza, you could go with the classic beer. You could go with the classic soda. But this may sound extremely weird. I like a big glass of milk. Because that's how I grew up eating pizza. And it's so weird how some of these eating habits you start as a kid, stick with you as an adult. And, it brings back like food memories, or access something in the deep recesses of your brain. I don't know what it is. But even though I am slightly lactose intolerant, so you're adding on top of all the delicious cheese. Oh, we didn't even get into cheese. But anyways, I'm adding a big old glass of dairy that could cause some distension, because I'm like, why not? Because I'm like, why not? Because it's so weird. The whole lactose intolerance didn't really start up until maybe 25 years old. I mean, who develops a lactose intolerant at that age? Because growing up and in college, I can drink milk as long as the day is long. Sure, that's the term. But now it's like, I don't know, maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe just getting old. Who knows? But that's favorite pizza. Oh, cheese. Mozzarella, cheddar. There is no Provel in this house. Oh, also provolone, though. But that's kind of Provel. Screw you, Ted. Anyways. Exciting news coming up. Let's see here. Purple for the Win. We just had episode 109 featuring Luke Inman. basic premise, what did the Vikings do at number 11? And we had a nice little 45-minute chat. It's been one of our more popular episodes recently, and people just love talking draft stuff. And we're going to have to dedicate one of these upcoming Andy Must Dies to basically all draft, because it's coming up it is 30 days. No, it's 29, because it's the first today. Draft is on the 30th. So do you consider that 30 days away or 29 days away? I never know. So anyways, end of the month, NFL draft is coming up. But as a teaser, go to purpleftw.com or get us on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, all those good places. Check out Chat with Luke. I think this is the 4th or 5th time he's been on the show. He and I have great rapport with each other, and I think he's an elite draft mind. And I love getting his take. And I run through a couple of variable scenarios of who could be there, who might not be there at 11, including a wild card of a Tradrian Peterson deal. Boom. Check it out. Also from me, Vikings Territory Piece, part 3 of 3 of I Love Hate You, Randy Moss is going to be up this Saturday. I still got to write it, but, and thank you so much for the feedback it's gotten so far. It's kind of therapeutic. It's kind of cathartic, if that's a word, to just kind of get all these bottled up feelings out on the page. And some people have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, that's about it. I'm a lover, not a writer, as Lindsay Young can attest, because sometimes I have her go through and edit a little bit. And the first draft of the first piece came back redder than Rudolph's nose, because I'm a butcher of the English language. But yeah, that's a wrap. We'll call it a wrap at an hour of the hour of power hour, going back to college and getting a Hrbek Bloody Mary later, all by myself. Hopefully Di will be rested, tanned, and ready to go, and back in good health. And if not, she can hobble out Willis Reed style next week for Andy Must Die episode 9. But this is it. This is fun. Just spend an hour together with my peeps, even though I'm all alone talking to a microphone. Hopefully it's reaching a couple people out there, not just cats. But follow us on Twitter at Andy Must Die. Subscribe. Rate us on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, everywhere. And the website, as always, andymustdie.com. But for now, I'm Andy Carlson. She's Di Murphy. Oh, yeah, don't you know I'm Di Murphy. I like shoes, yeah. That was a pretty good one. Thank you for listening. Have an awesome week. Boil your brats in beer, the cheaper the better, before you grill them. You'll thank me. It helps with the cooking process, adds flavor. Do it. Bye-bye.
The music was created and produced by Deeb. To hear more of his tracks, check out soundcloud.com/Deeb.
We needed to get this right.